Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Selling Sanity podcast. I am your hostess, Theresa Concepcion, Esquire, and today's episode, we are going to be breaking down Scary Mary's Silly Minions because the trolls have come out, y'all. They have come out in full force and effect, which I personally think is hilarious for so many reasons. Number one, I have been looking at all of my analytics on all these different platforms, and I posted a video on October 28th before the season 9 premiere of Selling Sunset, and I had 500 followers on TikTok when I posted that video and maybe 10,000 views of my posts. Fast forward to today's date, November 26th, I have over 10 million views on TikTok, 15,000 followers, and my Instagram went from 1,000 views to 4.5 million views in less time, I think in the last week. So on Spotify, my podcast, this podcast, which I launched officially 13 days ago, already has 6,000 plus streams and has a 83% conversion rate from people who find the show to those who actually listen. So the numbers are bananas. And I think as a result of that, the trolls have come out to play. And so it's funny to me because some of the insults sound so familiar. The other day, I was in my mom's storage unit and I was helping her clear out some stuff. And I found this box of knickknacks from, eighth grade and high school. And my eighth grade graduation yearbook was really small because we had moved into this new town from the end of seventh grade to eighth grade, and there were 21 students in the class. I was the 22nd, and all the other kids had gone from K through 8 together. And so here I come at the end of seventh grade, and I'm like this outsider that everyone instantly hated. And I was, bullied and trolled before trolling was a word. And I found this yearbook and I started Googling some of the girls who used to torment me, and not a damn one of them has any kind of social media or, notable achievement, except one who apparently, sadly, became a drug addict and lost custody of her kid due to, her drug use. And so was posting things on Facebook talking about, her addiction struggles. So that was kind of sad, but also damn, like karma. Not that I wish that on anybody, but that woman in particular made my life very hellish as a teenager. And so it's funny now to be, in my 40s and to hear, insults that are very, very similar to what I heard at 14. It's kind of like, cyclical, I guess. What goes around comes around again and again and again because some people apparently just never grow up. But to those thinking that you're going to make a mental dent in my psyche with your trollish behavior, let me enlighten you a little bit. As I've said in other episodes, okay, I have invested a tremendous amount of money in my mental health. The reason I don't own a 7-figure property in the Hamptons is because the 7-figure property is all in my brain. It's all therapy that I invested in my brain because when I was young, from the ages of 5 to 7, trigger warning, I was raped as a young girl by my mother's stepfather regularly, and sometimes with my grandmother, who was the facilitator all of this was also in the room. I had family who didn't believe me when I eventually came forward. I had to grow up around one of my abusers. My father was a heroin addict who luckily left when I was very young, but his sporadic, re-entries into my life were always very chaotic and traumatizing. My mother had a lot of her own issues, none of which were addiction related, but she did have a lot of narcissistic tendencies that just made life difficult. On top of which, I had a lot of responsibilities as the oldest, sibling and the oldest cousin. So there was a lot of trauma to unpack as I navigated, you know, life after law school and could afford therapy. And then unfortunately, I also picked litigation, which is, a profession and an area of law that is just constantly combative. You're constantly in a fight mode, of strategy, of thinking, trying to think a couple steps ahead of your opponent. And, I would be writing briefs in my sleep or going over deposition testimony in my nightmares. Like, so my body and my central nervous system was already very stressed by the time I became a lawyer. And then the stress of my profession just compounded all of that until about 2017 when like my just nervous system shut down and I needed to take, a medical leave from work, and that was really the start of like really intensive therapy. So I have done cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, DBT, which I find really helpful and is really helpful for people who have gone through trauma as a young person who might not have learned emotional regulation skills and boundaries skills. That's a really beneficial thing to learn, I think, before you go into the deep dive of, you know, what your issues really are, because then you'll be able to regulate yourself and not get so upset as you go back farther and farther into your past. I've done group therapy, art therapy, ACOA, which is adult children of alcoholics, because again, my mom wasn't an alcoholic, but she had a lot of narcissistic tendencies that made that suitable for me. So I have gone through a lot. I've invested a lot of money and time and effort into my mental health because for me, it was necessary to do that if I wanted to continue existing on this planet. So now I have gotten to a place in my life where I am my own boss. I work with people who align with me personally, whose values align with my values. I don't have to watch what I say. And to the extent I see something that is bothersome to me, I can speak about it publicly in an unfiltered way without worrying about if my boss or the boss's company or the boss's manager or somebody is going to take offense and negatively impact my livelihood. I don't have that worry. And so the filter has come off for the first time in ever. So what really pissed me off about Selling Sunset and what led to the episode or the video that I dropped on October 28th was just going back and realizing that we've been gaslit from seeing this chronic racism that Chelsea Lascani endured on the show, and that we've been gaslit into thinking a woman who's a pathological liar is really, the girl next door. And so once I, came to that realization, I just said, hey, F it. I'll just throw some videos on TikTok. Lo and behold, they started blowing up, and here we are, just, a month later. So to all of you guys who have enjoyed my content and my point of view and the analytical, legal aspect that I bring to, my commentary, I'm glad you found me. Yay, Sanity Squad. Let's continue collecting facts like snacks together. To those who don't like me, thank you so much for helping out with my algorithm. Because I have been figuring out that it doesn't really matter if you like me or hate me. If you take the time to comment on these posts, this like this like insanely smart AI. Look at me catching up. This insanely smart AI like says, "Oh, so and so is having an emotional reaction to Teresa's posts. Therefore, Teresa is really engaging. And so let's see if we can find other people who hate her." And and then that helps my numbers too. So it doesn't really matter if you like me or you hate me. If you are engaging with me, I just want to say shout out to you and thank you so much for helping my numbers, because the more people I reach one way or the other, the farther the truth spreads. And the truth, as I have repeatedly said, is that Scary Mary is Mary Bonet's nickname when she is high on cocaine. And in season 9, her own husband called her out for her cocaine fueled ridiculous behavior by saying that's Scary Mary coming out. These people are so arrogant that they think that they can clearly reference cocaine use on camera and nobody is going to figure it out. They even named an episode Scary Mary after Mary Bonet's cocaine nickname. They named an episode, and in that whole episode, her behavior is totally erratic. Her pupils are enlarged, if you want to zoom in. And they really think nobody is going to put it together. And meanwhile, the trolls are mad at me and saying, "Hey, how dare you attack Mary Bonet?" And I'm like, all I'm doing is saying the truth. She is a racist, she is a drug addict, and she had racist rants that were fueled by cocaine on camera, which led to Jason yelling, "Cameras off." Mary and Jason tried to film a scene where they fire Chelsea in the office. And when Chelsea called them racist, Jason again yelled, "Cameras off." An argument ensued. And Jason said that he would rather cancel Selling Sunset and Selling OC than have footage of a black woman calling him racist on his own in his own office air around the world. So he threatened the jobs of all of the people behind the scenes on those two shows, of the people in front of the scenes on those two shows, and basically threw a privileged white man tantrum because he would rather protect his cokehead friend than protect someone he has in his employ who's really been doing a much better job at representing the Oppenheim group than Mary has, because from at least what we see on camera, Chelsea has sold millions of dollars more in property than Mary has. But apparently that's not enough. Apparently you have to text before you send flowers or all bets are off. So, I mean, it's just the ridiculousness is kind of astounding to me. And then like people are mad at me and I'm like, why isn't anyone, you know, knocking down Chriselle's door and saying, "Hey, by the way, wasn't that fucked up about the fact that you've been falsely accusing Nicole of doing drugs for 3 seasons?" And you can yell drugs in Palm Springs and you can yell cocaine at the friend dinner, but all you can do is lean over and rub Chelsea's arm when Mary has a cocaine fueled rage incident at a restaurant and you, as her friend, know that she's doing drugs. So you yell drugs, Chriselle Staus, when it's not true and stay quiet when it is true, and then distract from the fact that you couldn't be bothered to speak up when it really mattered by speaking up after the fact in a half-hearted way to pretend that you're being an ally to Chelsea when really all you're doing is using Chelsea as a PR campaign. Do y'all follow that? Chriselle is full of shit is the short way of saying everything that I just said. So where is all that rage? Where is all of that, recognition that we have been gaslit by someone who's really been the villain since Christine Quinn called her two-faced Chriselle because Chriselle lied to Mary's face, not once, but twice at the dinner, at the restaurant in season 1, and at the pool party. I'm sorry if at the time I don't remember and I was racking my brain and I said I literally don't remember, but now I remember and now I remember and now I'm telling you what I said. But at the time I was having a private conversation that I didn't remember that I remembered 3 seconds later. Come on. Chriselle has been the villain since day one, and we have now had people see the light because that is how arrogant her, you know, behavior became as her success grew. She just became more and more comfortable revealing herself as who she is, instead of playing a soap opera character as, like, the sweet little girl next door whose husband, didn't find out that she was boning Jason Oppenheim. And that's why, he ran for the hills in divorce court. Um, so yeah, so that's what's been going on. Trolls are mad at me, but I don't think they're directing their anger at the right people. It's not my fault that Mary showed up on camera high on coke. It's not my fault that, Chriselle is being a complete hypocrite and still hasn't said the sentence Mary Bonet is racist, because I would have seen that headline everywhere. Instead, she just throws out a, oh, yeah, such dangerous rhetoric. Do better, girl. As I've already said, Chriselle could fuck off with that, because a real ally is an ally when the chips are down, when the stakes are high, and when it's not something that's easy to do. What's not easy to do is stand up to a friend who's having a, drug fueled racist rant on camera towards the friend that you claim to care about so much, that now you're posting on all her food, cooking clips like, oh, you're the best person I've ever known, and da 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 da. And I'm like, that's great now, but where was it when it really mattered? Why aren't people all around the world seeing a scene where Chriselle, for the first time, yells drugs and it's true? And it's not to attack somebody, but it's to defend somebody. Where did that scene go, Chriselle Staus? I don't know. So if you don't like me because I'm pointing it out, listen, I don't know what to fucking tell you, except, again, thank you for helping out the algorithm. You guys can throw out whatever 14-year-old insults you want. I've gotten stuff about my hair, my skin, my teeth, my house, my dogs, my weight. That's cool. Again, thank you for helping out the algorithm. If I didn't think that I could handle the fucking comments of a bunch of anonymous people without pictures, you know, I wouldn't be doing this. So I'm good, whatever you've got to say. Honestly, if I don't see a picture attached, I just picture a 400-pound guy who hasn't seen his micro penis in years, and I just keep going about my business. So that is that. So that is the tea. Scary Mary has silly minions. The trolls have come out to play. I enjoy hitting them kind of like whack-a-mole, but as I get busier, I'll be whacking a lot less. So Sanity Squad, back up your girl whenever you get a chance. And don't forget to continue following this podcast. Check me out on TikTok. Now Instagram is booming. That's hilarious to me. Again, I used to have 2 likes. And now I'm up to like 5 billion views. It's bananas. Social media is crazy. If you can't beat them, join TikTok, is the moral of the story of my life for the last 30 days. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Have a healthy, safe holiday. Go Birds. Redemption will come on Friday against the Chicago Bears. This is Theresa, and I'll catch you on the next episode.